Hello, my name is Ruth King. I am an industry consultant for more than 30 years to the HVAC industry, and over the years I've seen the importance of maintenance. And about a year ago, the company, John's company, who you'll be introduced to in a minute, replaced my heating and air conditioning system in my house. And a lot of times people think maintenance is not important for a system that's a year or 2 years old, but I think you'll discover why maintenance is important even when a system is just a little over a year old. So I'm going to introduce you to John. So John, come on in. So John, your company installed my new units about a year ago, a little over a year ago now, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so what happens is these are in my backyard. We're in my backyard. You can hear the birds chirping and everything else like that. And they're not the pristine brand new units anymore, are they?
No, they're not.
They've got a year's worth of outdoor weather on them. So what are we going to do today? You talked about doing an amp draw. Explain what an amp draw is.
So the amp draw measures how much power a motor or the compressor is pulling.
All right, so that means basically that the more power it pulls, the more my power bill is going to be, right?
Correct.
So what we're going to do, from what you told me, is we're going to measure the amp draw off our units right now as they're running, and then we're going to clean them because they should be cleaned every year. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to look at the amp draw again. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, shall we get started?
Yep. So the air conditioners have been running for about 15 minutes now per the manufacturer's recommendations. That's the time when you can check the amp draw. The first one I check is the overall amp draw of the unit, and we are at about 8.03 for the whole unit. I'm going to check the compressor now. We're at 7.5. So the second unit here is the top floor unit. The main level is a 3-ton, the one I checked first. This one I'm checking now is a 2.5. So that's the amp draw for the compressor. Looks like it's about 5.29.
And this is the normal maintenance procedure that you would go through. You would check, make sure obviously that everything is working, that the motors that have power to them, and then you're going to clean the coils, which is what you'd normally do on a maintenance check anyway, correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Now, John, since the unit's only a year old, it's not that caked up and bad, right?
I don't know. I always get it with a water hose, and then I'll clean it with the coil cleaner as well. Mm-hmm. Because I've been surprised just when you wash it down with the hose and then you come back and you get it with a coil cleaner, and it gets so much more stuff out of there. So.
You're making my units all shiny again. And normally, we just need to clean these once a year per manufacturer's recommendation, correct?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Okay. And if you keep it clean, then it's easier to clean it every year too, right?
Yeah, I'll go up to people's houses that systems are 10 or 11 years old, and this is the first time we're doing maintenance, and I'll have to clean the condenser coils at least 3 or 4 times to get all the gunk out of it. So if you do it every year, it saves you money in the long run, just because you're only paying me to do it once instead of having an additional cleaning charge or something like that.
And then also the power bills are lower too.
Yeah.
So I think the important point is even if a unit is a year old, it still has to be maintained.
Yeah.
Even though you're under manufacturer's warranty and all the other things that go along with that, it's just, maintenance is not warranty.
It seems like the sides of the air conditioners that face the house tend to be the dirtiest. Mm-hmm. I don't know why it is, but, the And that's the part that people normally don't look at anyway. So I don't need this thing cleaned. And then usually the one spot that you can always count on being dirty. No matter how old your heating and air system is, even if it's a year, it's just, they're always dirty. The sides that always face the house are always, I always see them. That's the dirtiest spot.
And so we just have to make sure we keep it clean all the way around the unit.
Yeah. Like I said, just doing it with a water hose, that's not enough, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. You got to use the cleaner as well.
Right.
Homeowners ask me all the time, well, can't I just come out there and do it? And it's like, well, it's really better if we do this, just because, I don't know.
Well, you've got the right coil cleaner. You're going to make sure the system sounds right.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things more than just, taking a water hose and spraying the coils. They might hit the electrical panel and fry the unit. I mean, there's lots of things you got to be careful.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So there we go. Trying not to get anybody.
I'll go over here.
Good action shot of all the gunk coming off of
Yeah.
here.
And that's only in a year.
I don't know. I think if you were asking me which one do I think gets dirtier quicker, it's typically the upstairs, because that's the one that runs the most here in Georgia. Like this one here will probably be dirty, but I bet you the upstairs one, it'll be...
Oh, it'll be filthy because, you're right, we use it more often. That's where my bedroom is. That's where I sleep. What I do now is turn on the disconnect so they'll start running again, right?
Yeah, I'll give it about 15 minutes to let these dry out. All the water that's still left in these coils, it'll get to pull through and dry out and get up to operating temperature.
Okay.
So we'll come back in about 15 minutes.
Okay. So John, it's been 15 minutes, the unit's been running, the unit's been cleaned, and now we're going to just take a look at the amp draws again.
Correct.
All right, so what do we have?
All right, so compressor amp draw, or the whole amp draw of the unit, looks to be about 7.95. Compressor, 4.57.
The amp draws went down just a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but that means that my power bill is going to go down just a little bit.
Yeah, I think so. I think all of that adds up in the long run, just because the outdoor unit's clean, it's going to take less time to cool the house, less wear and tear. The condenser fan motor doesn't have to run as long as opposed to a dirty outdoor unit. As well as when it is running, it's not pulling as much power.
Right, and so even though it's a year old now, you've done units like this where it's been 3, 4, 5, 10 years old, there's a more significant drop, right?
Yeah, definitely.
All right, but the reality is it doesn't matter whether it's a year, I'm going to see savings on my power bill.
Pretty much.
Okay, so let's look at the other unit.
Okay. This one here, 5.33. The amp draw is 5.2.
Okay, but so the real point of this is that even though my system's a year old, we saw differences in drops and amp draws that will help me save money on my utility bills.
Yeah.
So I'm going to write smaller checks every single month, which will be good.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times when you have systems that haven't been cleaned for 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to see dramatic drops.
I'd agree with that.
Okay. So, it works.
Yeah, it does.
Clean my coil is what you're telling me. Mm-hmm. All right.
Every year.
Every year. Thanks, John.
Yep.
So you can see that cleaning your coils, even in a system that's 1 year old, really will help you save money on your utility bills. So whether your unit is a year old, 10 years old, get your maintenance done. You'll save money on your power bills and write smaller checks to the utility companies. Call the number on the bottom of the screen now.